Dr. Elias Rourke was not the kind of man who believed in legends. He believed in facts, samples, and data. That was why he had joined the Terran Expansion Corps, to explore new worlds for humanity. But on the 7th day of his mission on Arendor 9, even his calm logic began to shake. The planet was beautiful and strange. Its forests were filled with giant trees that shone faintly at night, their roots glowing with pale green light. The air hummed softly as if the wind itself carried energy. Elias had come here to study the soil and plants, yet every hour brought something new that no science on Earth could explain. His scanner showed a large energy reading deep in the western forest. It wasn't natural. The signal pulsed like a heartbeat. Probably a mineral vein, he said to himself, trying to sound calm. But curiosity won. He packed his field kit and followed the signal. The deeper he went, the quieter the forest became. No birds, no insects, just silence. Even the air felt heavier. Then he saw it. At the base of a massive tree lay a shape, half buried under moss, dirt, and glowing vines. It looked like a statue at first, but as Elias came closer, his heart began to race. The figure was a woman. No, a giantess at least 30 feet tall, her body covered in cracked armor made of strange silver metal. One of her hands was missing. The other was clenched in the earth as if she had been fighting before she fell. Elias froze. The giantess's chest rose and fell, slowly, but it moved. She was alive. He lifted his scanner, his hands shaking. The readings went wild. Her body wasn't human, but it wasn't fully machine either. It was something in between, biomechanical. He took one slow step forward. Suddenly, her eyes opened. They were bright blue, glowing softly in the shadowed forest. For a second, they looked lost, then sharp. The ground trembled as she tried to move. Her lips parted, and a low, echoing voice filled the air. "Don't come closer. Your scent means death." Elias froze in place, every nerve on edge. He tried to speak, but his mouth was dry. I don't understand." "Who are you?" The giantess's gaze flickered toward his chest panel, then to the air around him. "Human," she said with effort. "You carry the scent of destruction. If you come near me, this world will burn." He frowned, confused. "Scent? Destruction? Look, I'm just a biologist. I'm not here to hurt anyone." But she shook her head weakly. "Your kind carries the plague. The ancient one. I feel it waking. Please go." Elias checked his suit sensors. There was something strange. A cluster of microscopic particles in the air reacting to his biosignature. His equipment beeped, displaying the word nanite response. The scent she spoke of wasn't smell. It was his human DNA. Something in the planet recognized it and was reacting violently. Still, he couldn't leave her. Her voice had sounded pained, almost desperate, and beneath the armor she didn't look like a monster. She looked like someone who had suffered for a long time. He knelt at a safe distance. "My name is Dr. Elias Rourke. I'm from Earth. I came to study your world, not to harm it. You said my scent means death, but maybe I can help stop it." The giantess closed her eyes. "You cannot help. The system will awaken. It knows your scent now. It will destroy you." "System?" he asked softly. "You mean there's a defense mechanism?" She nodded weakly. "Long ago I was one of the wardens of Arendor. We were made to guard this world from the nanoplague that wiped out the old races. The plague responded to human-like biology. To protect life, we sealed ourselves underground, but now, your scent has called it back." The ground beneath them trembled faintly. Elias looked down. The glowing roots pulsed faster like veins under skin. His suit alarm blared, energy surging below the surface. He looked up at the giantess again. "Then I'll help you stop it. Tell me what to do." Her expression softened slightly. "You would risk your life for a creature you do not know?" "Yes," he said simply, "because I can't just walk away." For a moment, silence. Then she spoke, voice faint. "My name is Voria. My core is damaged. If it fails, the containment field will collapse. You must restore the link before the system detects your full presence." Elias opened his toolkit and started working, following her instructions. Blue light spilled from cracks in her armor. Inside, he saw cables pulsing like veins and circuits that glowed like living tissue. He carefully connected power cells, sealing the cracks with a stabilizer gel. As he worked, Voria watched him closely. "You are different," she said quietly. "Your kind once created machines that killed stars. Yet you try to heal one." Elias smiled faintly. "Maybe we've learned something since then." Minutes passed. The forest seemed to hold its breath. When he finally reconnected the last circuit, Vorya's eyes brightened. The trembling ground eased. For a moment, Elias thought it had worked. Then the forest screamed. A low hum rose through the air, then a sound like thunder. The roots around them tore free from the soil, glowing red now instead of green. From deep beneath the ground, metallic figures began to rise, towering shapes covered in vines and rust. Vorya's expression turned grim. The sentinels have awakened. They sense you. They think the plague has returned. Elias stepped back, heart pounding. The sentinels' eyes glowed crimson as they scanned the air. One of them turned toward him, raising an arm that shimmered with energy. "Run!" Vorya shouted, "but you... Go! I will slow them down!" She forced herself upright, tearing free from the soil. Her massive hand slammed into the earth, cracking the ground. The sentinels hesitated for a moment, recognizing her signal, but then one fired. A beam of white light struck her shoulder, making her stagger. Elias ducked behind a fallen tree, shielding his eyes. "Vorya!" Her voice echoed in his head now, through the comms link she had opened. "The system cannot tell friend from foe. You must reach the core vault in the valley. It is the only place where the protocols can be stopped. I can't leave you here." "You must," she said softly. "I am already part of this world." "You are not. You still have a choice." Elias hesitated, looking up at the Giantess as she fought the ancient machines. She moved with slow, heavy power, each strike shaking the trees. Sparks lit the dark forest like lightning. He turned and ran. Behind him, the forest burned with light, green, blue, and red all mixing in the night. The sound of metal clashing echoed through the valley. Yet even as he fled, Elias couldn't stop thinking about her words. Your scent means death. What if she was right? What if humanity's return to the stars had awakened something better left forgotten? As he reached the ridge overlooking the valley, he looked back. The light from the battle still flared in the distance. And for the first time in his life, Elias Rourke felt small, not just in size but in time. Humanity was young compared to the things that slept among the stars. Still, he whispered to himself, "We may be small, but we don't give up." The wind carried the scent of metal and ozone. In the distance, the sentinels' red lights moved through the trees, searching. Elias gripped his scanner and began to climb down toward the valley. He didn't know what. Waited inside the core vault. He only knew one thing: he wasn't going to let an ancient system decide that humanity meant death. And somewhere behind him, the half-buried giantess raised her head once more, her voice low but filled with strange hope. "Perhaps this human will change what death means." The night on Arendor 9 was no longer silent. The forest glowed like fireflies caught in a storm. The ground rumbled with every step of the ancient sentinels, their heavy metallic limbs shaking the trees. Above the chaos, the giantess Vorya fought like a wounded mountain, slow but unyielding. Dr. Elias Rourke ran through the glowing roots, his lungs burning. Every few seconds, the earth flashed with white light as the sentinels fired again. He could hear Vorya's voice through his comm link, weak but steady. "Keep moving, human. The core vault lies beneath the valley. It is marked by stone pillars. You must reach it before the sentinels do." Elias forced himself onward. He tripped over a root but caught himself. The forest's beauty had turned to terror, but he couldn't stop. He had promised to help her, and humans kept promises. That was what made them human. As he reached the edge of the valley, he saw it. A vast plain of stone with 6 broken pillars rising like the ribs of a fallen beast. In the center stood a dark entrance, half buried, pulsing faintly with blue light. "The core vault," he whispered. He ran toward it, but a sudden roar behind him froze his heart. A sentinel had followed. It was smaller than Vorya, but still towering. Its body made of metal and vines, eyes glowing red. It raised its arm, charging a beam. Elias dove aside as a blast of light hit the ground where he had stood. The shockwave threw him into a tree. Pain exploded through his shoulder, but he forced himself up. Vorya's voice echoed again. "You cannot fight it, Elias. You must reach the vault." He gritted his teeth. "I'm trying." He grabbed a flare from his belt and hurled it toward the sentinel's face. The flare burst into light, momentarily blinding the machine. It roared, staggering back. Elias ran, sliding into the dark entrance of the vault. Inside, the air was cool and still. Blue light glowed along the walls, forming patterns like stars. At the center of the vast chamber floated a sphere of energy, bright, alive, and humming with power. His scanner flashed. Core system, active, identity, scan required. Vorya's voice came through faintly. That is the heart of this world's defense network. It controls the Sentinels. If we can rewrite its code, we can stop them. But the core accepts only Warden commands. Are those linked to one? Elias looked around, then noticed a glowing platform near the sphere. How do I link? You must connect your neural signal with mine, she said softly. It will be painful. If you fail, your mind may burn. He hesitated for only a second. Let's do it. Elias, yes? You are not afraid? He smiled weakly, terrified. But I'm still here. He placed his hand on the glowing platform. The air rippled like water. Blue light flowed through his arm, racing into his body. For a moment, everything went dark. Then he wasn't in the vault anymore. He stood in a vast field of light. A woman of silver and blue stood before him, Vorya, but whole again. She looked almost human now, her eyes calm and sad. This is the link, she said. Our minds are joined. Elias looked around. The field stretched endlessly, filled with floating memories, images of battles, destruction, and silence. Is this your world's memory? Yes. These are the echoes of the Arindral race. They built us to stop the nanoplague. But we failed. The plague learned to mimic life. It spread through everything. He watched an image of metal forests burning, cities melting into dust. And you stopped it? We locked it away beneath this planet, she said. We became the wardens of its tomb. But now your presence has awakened the system again. It thinks the plague has returned. Elias frowned. Then let's show it it's wrong. She turned to him, curious. Show it? He nodded. You said the core learns by memory, right? Then let's give it new memories. Mine. Before she could answer, he opened his mind. Images poured out. Earth's oceans, mountains, children laughing, people helping each other after storms, friends shaking hands, strangers sharing food. Simple moments of kindness. Vorya gasped softly as the images surrounded them. This is humanity? Yes, Elias said quietly. We've made mistakes. We've fought wars. But we've also learned to protect, to forgive, to build again. We're not a plague. We're life just like you. Vorya looked at him for a long moment. Then she placed her hand over the core's light. Then let us teach the world to see as you do. Outside, the sentinels closed in. The forest burned with electric storms. The energy under the ground surged toward the vault, ready to destroy everything. Inside the core, Vorya's and Elias's minds merged with the system. Streams of light flowed around them like rivers of data. The core spoke in a deep, cold voice. Human scent detected. Threat level, extinction. Commencing purge. Vorya's eyes flashed. No, recalculate. Elias stepped forward. Core, look again. He touched the energy field. Memories burst out. Vorya's memories, his memories, blended together. A giant and a human standing side by side, fighting not to destroy but to protect. For a moment, the core paused. The light flickered. Then the voice changed, slower, uncertain. New data recognized. Pattern inconsistent with extinction. Updating parameters. The red glow outside began to fade. The sentinels stopped moving. The ground stopped shaking. Then silence. Elias opened his eyes. He was lying on the vault floor. His body ached, but he was alive. The core above him pulsed softly with blue light, peaceful this time. He looked around. Vorya? The air shimmered. From the center of the light, a smaller figure stepped forward. She was no longer giant-sized, just slightly taller than a human. Her armor now smooth and silver. Her eyes glowed softly. Vorya? He asked again, amazed. She smiled. Yes, the core rebuilt me, using part of your DNA. I am smaller now, more human. He laughed in disbelief. You mean we're both half of something new? She tilted her head. Half machine, half human, perhaps the best of both. They stepped out of the vault together. The forest was quiet again. The sentinels stood still, their red eyes now blue. They no longer aimed their weapons. Instead, they knelt as if in respect. Vorya looked up at them. The system has a new directive, she said softly. To protect humanity, and all life that carries hope. Elias looked toward the dawn rising over the trees. The air smelled clean again, filled with the sound of wind and distant water. He turned to her. What will you do now? She looked toward the horizon. Watch, learn, perhaps help your people understand this world better. He smiled. Then maybe we can learn from you too. For a long time they stood in silence, watching the first sunlight spread across the glowing forest. The war between metal and life had ended, not with destruction but with understanding. Finally, Voria spoke, her voice gentle but strong. Elias, when I first saw you, I said your scent meant death. He smiled softly. And now? She looked at him, her glowing eyes warm. Now your scent means life. The forest around them shimmered as if in agreement. The ancient machines stood watch, guardians reborn with a new purpose. And in the quiet heart of Arendor 9, a human and a reborn giantess walked side by side into the dawn, proof that sometimes the greatest strength in the universe is not power, but the courage to care.